this important farm bill work that we're doing on the committee. Thank you. Senator Braun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm from Indiana, which is the #1 manufacturing state per capita in the country. Wisconsin's right behind us. Agriculture is right there in behind it. I've been a tree farmer and involved in agriculture for a long time, owned a turkey farm for 32 years, half owner of it. In general, what's besetting agriculture more than anything, and I'm going to focus on especially the row crop side of it. I remember when you could put out an acre with direct inputs of soybeans for $70 an acre, 140 for corn. We are so far away from that. The high altitude of financial risk involved with farming across the spectrum is significant. So we've talked about USMCA, other things that we depend upon, expanding markets across the world. If that doesn't happen, with the help of our federal government, we're making the hardest job God created even more difficult. So keep that in mind in general. Specifically, we're not the #1 turkey producer, but we're one of the top poultry producers in the country, and avian flu is a big deal. I'm part of legislation that wants to acknowledge that it's a known threat. We've been running into it far too often, still uncertain how it happens, but we're getting a good idea. But we ought to be certain about protocol when it does occur. So I'm introducing some legislation that would try to kind of regionally band how you're dealing it to where you're not holding a whole state at bay in the process of navigating through it. And that is an issue from ducks, turkeys, chickens in our state, and it's going to be around. So I want to make sure through this legislation that there's real definition on what happens to still be able to market your product once you know you've got a case of it. Tell me what you think about that, Undersecretary Taylor, and then I've got another question after that, so maybe give me 30 seconds or so.
Thank you, Senator. So I think we've done a lot of work with trading partners since 2014, 2015, and it is, while we still have some challenges in some markets, the reaction globally has been drastically different. They did not pull whole country bans on, which is what we were seeing initially. We work with the experts at APHIS to keep the smallest regionalized geographic area possible, depending on where those high path outbreaks are. And so I would offer our assistance in working with you on this bill on how our trading partners might react, but also obviously the experts on this disease at APHIS will be critically important to say, what does the science say around how small of a region that would make sense. We also have been working very closely with the World Organization on Animal Health and have made great progress there on what the science says and what appropriate standards are, and that has only helped us with our trading partners.
Thank you. I'll hold you up to that, and if you do that, that will be good, I think, to get this moving and across the line. Undersecretary Moffett, hemp has been something many farmers have been talking about, trying to get into it. There's so much uncertainty about it because we don't have a real established infrastructure for it. I think that's going to happen over time. When you look at how big the industrial markets are on hemp across the world, I think we need to start getting with it. Senator Tester and I have got legislation to create a new designation within the USDA for a licensing framework for producers who only produce industrial hemp. And producers who opt into this program would be barred from harvesting flowers and resin, and in exchange would receive more regulatory certainty. Again, I'd love to see help from the USDA to give some certainty to what is a very kind of fragile fledgling market. Is that something you'd be comfortable with?
Senator Braun, thank you for that question, and we're happy to engage with your staff as you develop this bill and provide technical assistance so that it is something that we can work on implementing should that bill pass.
And by the way, Senator Tester is one of the other few senators actually involved in agriculture. I think he still drives a tractor now and then. So one final question. Senator Tuberville hit on it on the forestry side of life, which oftentimes gets not the attention it should because it's a long-term product. Invasives are impacting forestry much more than it is row crop. You've got chemicals in a defined field that generally get rid of them. There's stuff like stilt grass, not to mention the emerald ash borer that's eliminated what was about 8% of our trees, ash trees. Will the USDA and is the USDA taking it seriously? Because hardwoods in a state like Indiana, when you get through the full food chains, about as much as the agricultural side would be. And yet it seems to get second fiddle in terms of attention.
Senator Braun, thank you for that question. Forest pests are of primary concern, of utmost concern at APHIS. I had the opportunity last year to visit the Forest Pest Materials Lab in Massachusetts, out on the Cape, to learn about the work that's being done, the research that's being done on forest pests. There are many, as you've described already, and many more, and they are, and our forests, our national forests, our state forests, all of our forests is a really critical part of our network and our agricultural economies and our rural economies across America. So we take forest pests very seriously and continue to do and advance research and work with our partners across the world in advancing that research and making sure that we're not introducing new pests as well in the effort.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator Hoeven.